Hi everyone, welcome. I'm Lily and I'm on the marketing team here at Velosio. And I want to thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Build and Extend and AI-powered Copilots with Copilot Studio. We're excited to have you with us. Before we get started, I need to quickly cover a few housekeeping details. You may have noticed that you're currently on mute, but don't worry, you can still interact with us by submitting any questions using the question box located on the GoToWebinar panel. If you happen to run into any technical issues during the session, feel free to use that same question box and we'll assist you as soon as possible. We will try our best to address all your questions during the presentation, but if we happen to run out of time, don't worry, our team will follow up via email or you can connect with your Velosio account manager for further details. Okay, now let's get started. I'm excited to introduce Ashish Rana, who will be leading today's session. Thanks for joining us, Ashish. I'm going to let you take it away from here.
Thank you very much, Lily. Hi, buddy. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're joining from. And welcome to the webinar for Build and Extend AI Copilots. So I'm going to introduce myself quickly. I'm Ashish Rana, working as a Principal Solution Architect at Velosio for customer engagement. I'm also a Microsoft Business Application MVP, Microsoft Certified Trainer, and my area is more focused on advising and implementing business application, again, focusing on Dynamic 365 CE. I also lead many local and global communities in Toronto and around mostly in US and Canada. So, and again, there are a few links you can reach out to me for further information you're looking for. You can reach out to and look for the blogs, and I published recently a lot of around the Copilot side. So, without further ado, let's get started and deep dive into the Copilot side. So, before I deep and talk about the Copilot, let's understand the industry landscape. Almost like now it's been like 2 years approximately. If you have heard, I'm sure now everybody heard of around generative AI, but 2 years ago, very little number of people heard about the generative AI technology, right? So, in any of the company landscape, from the tech point of view, um, a time to reach 100 million user is one of the biggest, I would say, the unicorn star, or let's say North Star for any company, right? From the technology adoption point, correct? So mobile took 16 years, internet took 7 years, Facebook took 4.5 years, but ChatGPT took just 3 months, actually, not even years. So within 3 months, ChatGPT reached to 100 million users, which is like a big adoption of technology. So that's how people interest change completing into conversation between business side of thing, IT counterparts, etc. So right. So nowadays, if you see every company pretty much to a certain extent, and as a user, either consuming some sort of a ChatGPT application or enabled with Power AI side, right? If they are not, they have a budget and in plan of investment to do this in next this year or to next year, right? So this so show how the technologies are understanding and coming up, right? There are some conversational AI sort of things. So now, as we are getting into more of Copilot, so let's talk about the conversational AI. What's the meaning of conversational AI? So earlier, we have this chatbots, right? The chatbots are, as the name indicates, you do a chat and bot will understand your context and responds it back to you. And what was this topic covered? If I go from left to right, so this was the time to cover the topic, like topics covered, but time to build it, right? So here we are doing a development effort where we are spending a time to spend a lot of custom topics to be created, right? And here the topics are covered very little, even we spend a lot of time. On the pro code side, when the after the couple of years ago, when the bot framework and Azure technology for the Azure point of view launched, we Microsoft provides some features and engagement hubs to create a customers and partners their own bot application, right? So using the professional code application, which basically require a very development skills, you need a software engineering, you need software departments to design those kind of bot. Still, the time topics covered is not so many, but it requires a lot of development effort. But because it's a pro code, we are still able to reach to a certain extent, which was not earlier possible. With the low code application, this is a Power Virtual Agent. Microsoft reached to a point where the time to market, or let's say time to build a topic, is low. And we are trying to cover the market is also like the number of topics created, it's also high. Topics are generally in information that you're trying to provide a customer based on the bot functionality. So let's say when somebody reach out to you, you can ask them what's the problem. So issue understanding an issue can be a topic, right? And with the conversational AI, and let's say a Copilot, Microsoft Copilot powered by generative AI, The time to build is very less, but the topics covered is huge. How this is possible? This is possible with the generative AI creation, with the generative answers, and all those different technologies which Microsoft is using behind the scene to which enable the customers to create and generate those Copilot powered by AI. Right? How the conversational boostings and other area will be covered. Right? So let's understand first what is a Copilot before we deep dive into the more topic of the buy and use and other capabilities around the Copilot. So, as that name indicates, Copilot is more of an AI assistant that will be used generative AI and large language model to assist human with complex cognitive task. When it say assist, we use the word two-time assist, right? So that's why it's called as Copilot. We are assisting human to complete a complex task or generate information from something, right? So we are assisting them. We are not just creating that information. Again, there is a very definition underlying the factor. That's why it's called Copilot, not autopilot, right? So Copilot is basically creating an assistant, and there are two types of Copilot exist right now. First, I will talk about the Microsoft Copilot, which is also called as first-party Copilot. I'm sure many of you seen this kind of logos, which talks about the Copilot logo, Dynamic 365, and again the Power Platform logo, the Power Pages side of thing, and again the SharePoint and like your Access services, etc. So again, a lot of Azure services, and again we have Security Copilot, etc. So these are already built a Copilot for you. You just need to start using consuming the data based on licenses if needed. On the other hand, we have the scenarios where the custom copilot, where the custom copilot can be built by partners or a customer depending on the capability and the complexity they are trying to achieve. With enterprise scenarios, so let's say they were looking to create a cart copilot, right? Let's say if you have run an e-commerce business and you would like whenever customer adds some product in the cart, but they're not complete the finishing, let's say the purchase in next 1 hour, you're sending a reminder, right? So those kind of scenarios. Environment related copilot, like for weather tag and all, airline ticket booking copilot. So again, there are various templates Microsoft product team provided to us, so we can start leveraging and create a custom copilots, right? Let's understand different buy and use and customize a copilot. Now, at this point in time, we understand there are two type of copilot: first party copilot and custom copilot, right? First party copilot also called as buy and use, and the custom copilot is also like something we can customize and build or create from custom. It's not, we cannot extend the buy and copilot. So again, you can extend this buy and use copilot also with the Copilot Studio. So we'll get into more understanding of this topic, right? So what's a no code application, like end user driven? So there are a few copilots: M365 Copilot, then we have the Copilot for sales, service, and finance. These are called as role-based Copilot, which means it's focused on individual business function, and it's basically extra on top of the Microsoft provided Copilot. So again, it's like extra functionality with a more better LLM models to be designed. So those are the Copilot focus on the business function. That's why it's called as role-based Copilot. Then we have the out-of-the-box Copilot agent from third-party ISVs. Again, there are many companies, many partners in globally. They are creating their own Copilot, focusing on an individual business problem or internal line of business function. You can download those from the App Store. That's readily available, right? On the other hand side, we have something called as custom Copilot and build, where as a IT developer, a company or Microsoft partner or customers, you will design your own Copilots. You use Copilot Studio as the base application or as a platform to build your own Copilot agents, right? We call it as Copilot agent, not Copilot chatbot anymore. So again, agent and chatbot technically is the same thing. But again, it's not just a chatbot; it can be conversational bot as well, right? So that's why we don't call as chatbot; we say agent or a bot, right? Um, so you can run your own custom Copilot and custom LLM to orchestrate some of the Copilots. There's something like Microsoft Manage, so which means any Copilot built and designed on Copilot Studio, it's more of SaaS focused, which is like software as a service, where Microsoft manage the large language model. You can create your own custom as well, but Microsoft manage the infrastructure, security, and all the base functionality of the SaaS application, like infrastructure point of view and the platform side of thing, right? Where this Copilot is again a custom Copilot. If you use the Visual Studio, AI Studio, or let's say AI, this OpenAI Services Studio, also called as AI Hub nowadays. These are more focused on platform as a service, which basically you as a customer or partner will create your own LLM, you'll create your own syntax, and you create your own security model, infrastructure, everything will be handled by you. So in this case, we are using a pro code application. So that's a key difference between these two custom copilots. When we build, these are low code application, these are pro code application. Pro means we need a proper software engineering team to design those Copilot on AI Studios, Visual Studio, like custom Copilots on the and support with the AI orchestration, modeling of AI, etc. Right. So I'm expecting everybody at this point of time in next few minutes understand what's the different Copilots we have and different options how we can build and extend or start consuming the Copilot directly after making a purchasing a license from the Microsoft and the team. Right. Let's understand the full suite of what the different offering, and I'm going to more deeper into the discussion where the partner and customers can leverage the capability of Copilot and start using those engagements, right? So full suite of offering to meet all generative AI needs. We'll start. Let's say the first one is buy and use. We already talked about it. What is buy and use? But different scenarios do more. What time effort required? Then we have the build, run your own Copilot agents. And the last is build your own Copilot stack, where, as we talked about, 100% custom, 100% from scratch, right? So the first one is more focused on role-based Copilot and Microsoft 365 Copilot. Both Copilots provides, let's say, you can download from the marketplace. You can actually just start using it. Depending on some Copilots come require extra licensing. Let's say sales, security, sorry, sales, service, and finance agent or role-based Copilot require extra licensing. So you need to acquire a license and then start using it. Time or effort, none. It's out of the box. You just connect to the right data source and that's it. You can just start using it. It will automatically consume your data. Next is build your own Copilot and Copilot agents. So again, here we are using Copilot Studio or Visual Studio, right? So these are the two options we have to consume and start creating a Copilot. And again, what's the do more with? If we are using Copilot Studio, we can use as extension platform either a Visual Studio or AI Studio to extend it, create custom model, custom connectors, APIs, and knowledge grounding, web grounding kind of data, and then we start using it. How much the effort required is low effort, right? With some, it's more like a low code application with some citizen developer or professional developers, or let's say can build and run these kind of scenarios, right? Next is Visual Studio Copilot. These are more of CI/CD pipelines. We are going to create code-based Copilot with full control of a write check, or let's say any kind of, let's say the whole architecture talks about the Copilot, right? So that's something we can leverage and start creating it, right? You can use Microsoft Fabric to create your own model or ground with your own data, actually, like harness your own data to create and customize the Copilot. Effort, medium to high. It requires some decent amount of effort, but it required professional codes like enterprise or professional code. And the last one is build your own Copilot stack. Now we are talking about creating a whole stack from scratch. In this case, we need to use the AI Studio. Um, right? Or AI Engagement Hub. We need to also deploy AI model, custom or turnkey models, or let's say consume any kind of Copilot to be required. We are using again, do more with Fabric. Again, as I said a few minutes before, you can use Fabric to harness your own data for the web grounding and create your own data sets. Effort, medium to high, require AI engineer recommendation, generative AI engineers. Nowadays, you can find a lot of these roles, which people who have worked in the past as AI developers, they are now focusing more of generative AI technologies. So you need AI developers to generate and train your models, right? Let's talk about the extend and customize Copilot, right? So Microsoft in the pink color, and this we have this blue color, two separate scenarios. So the first three things we are focusing on: extend skills, augment Copilot skills. Second is expand knowledge of your organization, and third is preserve trust without compromising of your organization data. You can actually start using the Copilot. So again, extend and customization option Microsoft provide. On the x-axis we have the skill, and the y-axis we have the knowledge, right? So again, x and y-axis provides us the ability what Microsoft Copilot can provide, but using the plugin and let's say extending your knowledge using graph connectors and the other things we talked about in the past few slides back, we can actually use the Microsoft provide the extensibility option as a customer or partner. When I say customer and partner, This basically can be done as a customer. You can start using it. You can build your own custom copilots, or as a partner, you can actually create a business scenarios and start putting those app source or for your customers, right? So again, different option. That's why it's called extending a copilot and customizing a copilot, right? That's the main meaning of it. We are extending the skill, we are expanding the knowledge and preserve the trust of your organization data, right? So that's very important to understand. So that's why this whole graph makes sense, because we have a limited amount of skills Microsoft provide, but they give us set of tools, the set of platforms where we can expand our knowledge and expand our knowledge and extend the skills around it, right? Let's talk about some of the more Copilot sites. So, I think this slide give you more clarity. So, we have a bunch of Copilot as you see on the screen. Each of this Copilot support and built on bot framework SDK. We have bot channel, service channel, AI Studio, cognitive services, platform connectors, and AI Builder. These are the fundamental the tools and services Microsoft provide for any Copilot building is going on, right? Any Copilot you build. So, and then we have the Copilot Studio on the as a layer, which is a platform to customize and build and extend Copilot, right? So you can extend and customize first-party Copilot, build and extend, right? Extend the Copilot and build your own custom Copilot. So that's why it's called extend and build, or build and extend Copilots, right? Custom Copilot using Copilot. That's a topic for us. And then we have this Copilot for M365. I know everybody aware of it. We have M365 like Outlook Copilot, Word Copilot, Teams Copilot, and so many copilots everywhere, right? So that's why we have different copilots for the Microsoft 365. Then Copilot, I call this BizApps Copilot because they are focusing on Dynamic 365 and the Power Platform. This is called Users Copilot, and this is called Makers Copilot, where a developer will be using to create the data. Then we have Microsoft other Copilot like Security Copilot, Windows, etc. Right? And then we have the custom Copilot, where custom, we already talked about it. As a company or customer or partner, you can actually create your own custom Copilots on the using the different ways we have. What are the two under these two buckets? What different section we have? So we have the Sales Copilot, Service Copilot, right? Finance Copilot, and again Business Central Copilot, right? These are the different copilots we have. Then from the developer's point of view or maker's point of view, we have Copilot for Power Apps, we have Copilot for Power Pages, we have Copilot for Power BI, etc., right? So we have different Copilot where, as a developer, when I'm developing an application, I can use those Copilots to define and create the data, right? Let's talk about some of the chat experiences, and there are some option which Microsoft provide from the intelligent point of view. The Copilot is more intelligent to understand the user's context and intent. Intent in the AI language is more focused on understanding the customer intention or the user's intention, what the context and intention looks like, because context give you just a flat file kind of, let's say, just 2D information, but intention generate a meaningful information, more of emotional or meaningful EI, we say, right? And emotional intelligence. So it understands the EI plus the context behind this, why they're asking it, so intention behind it. And based on this contact and information, it creates an intelligent, meaningful answer, generate a response for you, right? It secured. Microsoft use pretty much all the security standard and governance, security and lifecycle management for the deployment point of view. So again, it's very secure, automated, and again, the systems you can generate a task automatically using workflows, Power Automate. So you can use Power Platform as a fundamental and start consuming those area into the Copilot Studio. Customizable. So again, connect your own data from legacy application, extend across, let's say you can extend across Microsoft various ecosystem and more. Collaborate. You can interact with co-pilots as they were okay another members of the team. So again, you can actually collaborate between the co-pilots, between the team members, etc. So I would say the evolution it's showing of the Copilot sometime in it's a long story. Microsoft already put a fundamental of Satya only penned down a paper regarding the AI policies in I would say 7 or 8 years ago. So there are Microsoft behind the scene from the different teams and product team, other things. There are some AI related investments going on. We have a full life cycle of those investment, what was the different meetings done, etc. But it's going on from last 7 to 8 years. But that's why we don't have any exact date of evolution. But from 2023, we started using search, summarization, and generation of those copilots and the text. From 2024, Microsoft started building a product, and I'm sure everybody aware of it. How many co-pilots now we have, which is recently added last year. So 2 years ago, the things were very in fine and very fine information, but now things are in more of in mainstream, I would say, right? So that's why there are more customization option coming up 2024 and plus, which like if you go to the notes of Microsoft Copilot Studio, you will find a lot of the UI, the reporting, KPIs, and the functionality change in a very in a quick manner, right? Let's talk about a different role or a Copilot solution for different functions, right? So Copilot focusing on sales, yes, it's focused on generate more leads and upsell opportunities depending on the data. So let's say if you're sitting on a sales call, you can actually use Copilot to generate a summary out of a deal and it generates the data for you so you can answer and take the next steps, right? Because as a seller, you're working off tens of hundreds of leads actually on a daily basis, right? So sometimes you don't able to track it. So we like system to generate more leads and give you meaningful information around it. As a finance team, you can actually a system can expedite the process of let's say manual and reduce manual errors of invoice creation, do automated follow-ups, who is like a past invoice, due invoices, etc. Right? It's a marketing, you can improve communication channel. Let's say system can suggest you what to create and how to create and that's which customer to target based on the past data actually we receive based on the email engagement, right? I'm just giving some example, but the scenarios can be more deeper, correct? HR focusing on onboarding my employees more quickly. How, as an HR, I can be efficient and again onboard employees faster compared to the manual process. Again, we have the when the response coming up, system can automatically automate some task for the people to approve it and move to the next stage of the life cycle of the hiring, right? Legal from the streamlined contract management point of view. So let's say it's a legal team, I can review the contract using the Copilot, I create a summarize of it, and then submit this to the and approve it or reject it. I'm not going to say the Copilot is the right way to review the legal contract, but it'll create a summary out of it. So you just create a meaningful context, and actually you can respond it back to this. So the review process of management contract side of thing is faster. The next is the customer service. Again, we have tons of scenarios and example for customer service out of thing. Let's say how many customer issues you're receiving as a per hour basis as an agent. You can actually drive a meaningful conversation from a topic. You can actually use Copilot, listen to my call, create a scenario, look for the right tools and option for the knowledge articles, respond it back to me so I can actually reply back to the customer. So either the Copilot can read for you or for a chat, it will generate a text. You just simply copy paste it, right? So again, those kind of function can be generated and created in a very decent manner. I'm going to give deep dive into the three main topic of the Copilot, which is first is the design, but it which is part of the design, enhance, and manage. These are the three different topics we have. So let's focus on the design first, right? How we can design the Copilot. So build the way you want. So that's a theme of the Copilot. Again, the way you want, you can build it, right? There are a few things which I would like to mention. So when we started building a Copilot, there are four buckets actually I would like to show. First is a template. So Microsoft has recently added like pre-built scenarios or popular industry business process or functions. Let's say approval for manager, right? A store operation, sustainability insights, or let's say job create credit, or take an example, airline ticket booking system, right? So those are some standard Copilot templates design. So when you start creating your own agent or bot, you can actually use one of the template. It will actually create a whole function topic for you, even the connection. But again, you need to provide the data source if it coming from the third party or any other data source. And then your Copilot ready like within, I would say, less than 30 minutes, right? From the natural language query way, as a user, I would like to create a Copilot for some function. What's the meaning behind, what's the use of my Copilot? So I can just give a context like in a natural language, and natural language understand and system will create a Copilot for you, right? Again, it will create a skeleton for you, like a wireframing for you, right? And again, you need to go and modify the information in order to start using the Copilot properly. Then we have the visual canvas. So again, once these are the two ways we create a Copilot, or you can say no, create from blank and I will take care of everything. So that's the third way. And once this is creation is done, you can use a visual canvas where it's basically it will generate very similar structure we have in Power Virtual Agent, very similar option. But again, the UI is same, but the power right now is like 100 times, right? Because I remember when I was using and designing this in 2016, 27, 18, 19, 20, it was different. Now it's a different beast, right? So because the power we get from the all the AI and generative AI and the Azure Studio, right? So we use the visual canvas to drag and drop functionality to add the function and create it, pull the data from sources, run the Power Automate, branching. So anything we require, like a low-code graphical interface, will be used as a visual canvas. And again, system in the backend is used the YAML tech coding language. So again, if you are expert in this, you can actually use the start YAML language, which basically stands for YML and markup language, right? So again, that's a name of language. It's more of used to write configuration files, and also tends to be easier to read than XML, right, or JSON. So that's why YML files are either like YAML dot extension or dot YML, right? So these are the file extension you can start formatting and again start using from the data structure point of view. Next is we have the knowledge on the customize your Copilot. So we customize the Copilot by these four building blocks. First is the knowledge, like I would say, existing data. Let's say your data sitting in your different repositories within the company or outside the data 65 or M365 data query, right? So we can again can connect to those different knowledge sources. What I'm trying to say is like knowledge is a source, right? These are different source of data. It can be coming sitting in your within the company, or let's say outside the company, let's say outside the scope of intranet. If it's within sitting in the company, if maybe sitting in Microsoft Stack or maybe sitting in Salesforce or SAP or any other third-party application, the proprietary application you build. So you can connect to various data sources, right? You can actually generate an action around it. Like in a specific line of business point of view, you can generate action to perform a task or a process on a specific level. Create a logic. Actually, you can define a logic, which conversation path of your logic, again, followed by different triggers can be done. And lastly, channel, like where, how the consumption of these Copilot going to happen. So you actually create the Copilot and where and how the end user will consume this Copilot, or let's say start using the Copilot or engage with it. That's the channels are, right? So these are four building blocks from the customize your Copilot point of view. Now, if I go in each of this in detail, I will just try to skim through it considering the time we have. Um, so we have the knowledge, right? So knowledge, as I said, talks about the different public and enterprise data sources we have to use that Copilot connector. So it can be your public website, Dataverse, file uploads, Microsoft Graph, Fabric, and then like SharePoint or OneDrive. Fabric is already available nowadays. So again, you use those knowledge as a source of information. Again, these are the sites or third-party data source we can connect. We can use Power Platform connectors to connect to third-party data sources. So again, you can create your own custom connectors if it's not in the list. But because Microsoft use standard functionality of, let's say, Power Platform, so we have 1400 plus connector as you see many of these logos. So Microsoft provide out-of-the-box 1400 plus connectors. And I'm sure this slide is like few months old, so it will be 1500 nowadays, right? So you can use one of those connected as a data source or app to connect to directly to the data source without having any integration points. Custom connectors, you can use the publicly available APIs to connect to the custom connectors. That's also possible. You can use flows to bring your automated workflow built using Power Automate. You can use prompts actually, so provide custom instruction to the GPT model using AI Builder. You can use skills actually as a bot. You can add a bot to the skill and again start functionality around it, right? So that's another function. Mm, logic. So have a complete control over the critical scenarios by designing specific step-by-step process. Again, you have to complete, let's say, a control over critical scenarios like HR, legal, etc., right? Or questions or any kind of thing. That something can be done. Enabling your Copilot to automatically select the most appropriate action. So again, system will automatically understand those contexts and design responses for you. Correct. Connect to your contact center to escalate a conversation. So again, this logic can be used. Um, I was working for a customer. They're a parking authority in the city of Toronto. So what exactly they use? They use Copilot to answer basic level information for the customers. If they don't have, if the system is not able to fix that issue, it will escalate a conversation to the live agent, where live agent either on a chat or a phone call can serve the customers. So that's the reason how the Copilot, a bot, a chatbot, or a conversational IVR can be redirect a conversation to the agents like customer service agent, right? So these are the examples of the logic. And here we have the channels. So again, as I said a few minutes before, you need to consume this data. You need to consume this, engage this Copilot with the users. We can use one of their website. We can just do a demo website. We can use custom website, mobile app, Facebook, Twilio, Teams. And again, you use the iframe and all. You can actually embed it to your own systems, right? If it's not available in the list. And in the bottom, we have the engagement hub, like where we use the customer service escalation. We can use for the Genesis, Salesforce, LivePerson, ServiceNow, Zendesk, and again their own customer service, customer engagement hubs we have. So you can use and publish to escalate to bot example for the agent side, right? Perfect. So next we'll talk about the conversational AI ecosystem, which basically talks about the SaaS and PaaS application. So again, we talked about a few minutes before how the Copilot considered as a SaaS application, and AI Studio talks about the PaaS application because of the reason. The reasons are AI authoring environment. Here we have the integrated with GitHub and the Visual Studio. In the Rapid environment, we are authoring our creation of those topics is faster, right? Because it's drag and drop. Fully managed SaaS stack, which means we Microsoft manage everything for us. We don't have to worry about any kind of security operation point of view, right? The base underlying factors. On the other hand side, complete control of the stack. So we Microsoft provide on the use customers and user, or let's say partners, to manage all this everything around the technology behind the scene, right? Simple all-in pricing. Again, Copilot Studio pricing is straightforward, based on consumption and based on the users, right? Based on the consumption messages sending on a monthly basis. Here on the AI Studio, it's more of a component level pricing because we are using multiple function and services of AI. So based on our consumption, it will generate a different pricing for us, right? So again, it's a different level of pricing. But the understanding is basically there are options available, and which one to choose it up to the customer and partner page, depending on what kind of Copilot they are trying to build, right? So it's either a AI Studio or it can be Copilot Studio, right? Let's talk about the next function is Enhance, and then we'll deep dive into further our other topics of a design side. Um, let's talk about the Enhance. Enhance focused on easily optimized with data-driven insights, how we can enhance our copilot. So like it's something you build a copilot, but how will understand this should be enhanced. So I was working for a very large customer service deal recently. They say, I want my self-service to understand, give me the context where the copilot is failing, so I can actually train my copilot to function this way, right? The self-service side of things. So again, how we can know, how we'll know which topic is failing, where the customer, which topic in the whole copilot for the agent bot is not able to answer customer query and is escalating this conversation to the agent, right? And is breaking the rule of self-service. So we can actually get to know all this data when it comes to CSAT. And again, we can see the session path, when the session started, at which point of time, which topic a session is going to escalate to the bot. We can actually get to know the loophole. And then based on this, actually, we can train our bot in such a way or put more function so it can give us more meaningful information. And again, start providing that function into the system. So when a customer is interacting to a bot, not every time they have to escalate to the live agent, because most of the time, most of the queries will be handled by the bot automatically, right? Because that's a function of it, self-service, right? Let's talk about build a Copilot. And again, many of the customers you see on this list, many of the companies by department, by industry, are using Copilot for their various business function, right? So again, managed booking, virtual clienting, professional services, lead generation, PwC. We have City of Ottawa, again, using for childcare assistant. We are using Join Angel again for retail side of thing, NHS for submission of healthcare and insurance claim. So again, there are a list of all the different big companies in the cities, government sectors, different areas function. different firms actually using Copilot for different business functions, right? By department wise, we have a customer service department. We already talked about it. Creating a request for refund, describe your issue from a centralized FAQs. Finance department for the payroll, budget for invoicing, for the HR department, benefits or leave and absence, for IT support tickets, operations side of things. So again, I see majority of the work I perform in last 1 year is focusing on customer service, HR, IT, and sales and marketing. These are the few four buckets I would say, and this is my expertise where I worked on project where we multiply the company's performance just by putting copilots there. Secure, scalable. So scale security, right? So again, how we can scalability should be provided at the copilot level. It provides monitor. That's very important. Important. If you remember the example I took for the KPI side, system will allow you to monitor those screens, monitor those information, which copilot is functioning correctly, manage it in a sense you will update those, fix those loopholes and fix those issues, and then send it for the approval, like improve it. So then you can see, okay, once it improves, customers start consuming and then try to resolve their issue using self-service side. We can start improving. It's a continuous improvement. So it's consider this as a linear, it's more of a cyclic. It's more cycle. So monitor, manage, improve, monitor, manage, improve is like a cycle, endless cycle of a continuous improvement. That's how you can scale your Copilot securely because it provides a scalability based on different loopholes, different process loopholes, and then you use this to build a COE for Copilot on the continuous improvement side, right? That's how we can manage in the scalability point. The last topic of the day is manage, right? And I'm going to do a quick demo of a few minutes before we end the session, and then I'll open the floor for Q&A. Okay. So the very important thing on manage side, how we'll manage the Copilot again, and AI Copilot, the Copilot Studio available worldwide across 22 data centers, and we have the different list of data centers, right? It's available on different languages and still it's growing. As I said, the slides are a few months old. So again, there's a lot of other places and the national cloud language is already available, right? 10 of for generative AI open sources will be continuously to expand, as I said. It's also available for on national cloud, on commercial GCC, government cloud, and at the same time government cloud high for mostly on US and other government sectors in Europe. It's also available for, as I said, for 23 language, both of building your solution and responding in them. So it's not just responding it. It also helps the user to build those in custom languages. So let's say the languages in their own localization point and then respond it back. So you can design and you're responding back, responding to your customer's query in both in their own localized languages. Partner scenario. This is one of the very important topic to understand. As a partner, if you're joining to this webinar or customers you're joining, where the scenarios where you can actually use the extensibility of your Copilot. So we have first scenario number one and the scenario number two. First is basically boost every employee and team's productivity with Copilot. You can build a plugin for Copilot for M365. This is again focusing on teams and employees' productivity. We as a company use internal co-pilots for improve our productivity, improve our business function, ticket enhance creation. As a large employees, we need to make sure that our processes are very smooth and improved and provide the best experience to our employees. So we have those internal co-pilots. It starts from Copilot Studio. We build on Copilot Studio, but we extend using some of the custom API. We have a few AI generative AI developer who manage us to generate pipelines and also CI/CD. Use AI search. We use our own large language model to design those into Copilot AI Studio. Scenario number two, we focused on the customer side. Here we are reshaping business process. Let's say reinventing customer engagement, or let's say bending a curve for innovation, right? Any kind of innovation you're looking for and to extend it. Either we use a built custom copilot with low code or the flow code. We technically are working on this this section right now. We also have a team members who worked on this. I lead this team. So again, we worked on both the scenarios and low code or pro code scenarios where you use the Copilot Studio or AI Studio to extend the features. We have a few customers, as I said, we are working with them and we are working on some of the scenario using extending the Copilot using the app insights and again using the GitHub for the Copilot functions. I would like to talk about some of the Copilot extensibility scenario, focusing on the ISVs, right? How the ISVs can be scenarios, and again, then we'll talk about more Copilot, generative AI, and conversational, the more scenarios, and then we'll deep into the demo. So ISV scenario number one, build new and improve apps with generative AI to differentiate and grow revenue. Build a custom Copilot using AI Studio and using all these things. I will not recommend as a customer, as a partner, you will create something on Copilot Studio because it's easy to replaceable. So create a SaaS offer from the marketplace. You can monetize and publish it, right, as ISV scenarios. And again, from the scenario number two, win new customer, grow engagement with Copilot. How we can use that? Using a Copilot plugin on M365. You can use Teams Toolkit for Visual Studio. These are available, and you can publish those to M365 app stores. Again, people download. You will generate the licensing revenue directly from those consumption, right? And again, focus on the continuous improvement as well. And the next topic I would like to talk about. Generative AI in changing conversational AI from the low code. So if you see these two diagrams, diagrams talks about a very good understanding of the information. First is the business criticality, and then we have the conversational bit, right? Same thing in both these diagrams. This is low code and pro code. Consider this as a Visual Studio, or sorry, PowerShell agent before 2023, okay, or let's say starting 2023, right? We use most of the time of handling and creating a new topic, but it's just limited. We cannot do everything. No company can build its complete all the business topics for them. But there are significant amount of opportunities which is missed or escalated to agent because the Copilot is not, let's say, bot is not enabled to function or response it back the right query or answer to the customer, right? So here we have able to only focus on the primary function of the business, but there are significant amount of opportunities missed. Using the Copilot Studio, we spend less time on building business critical topics because it's just need to focus on some of the manually authored topic. Enable Copilot for the conversational boosting, and rest of the Copilot will handle from the conversational boosting side. Connect the Copilot to the right sources, hook those information Copilot. When a customer asks any information which is not available in the manual or the topic, system will trigger and pull the data from the source, understand the query, and generate those back in a response in a more natural language way, and respond it back to the customer. So this is one of the way how the Copilot can actually is in a graphical way can manage with limited information but can handle pretty much all the query by customer. It support approximately to 97 to 98% of the query from organization, which was earlier, which was like 45%. So you see the number increase almost by double, like more than double, right? For the consumption and the user from the user point of view. Introduction to generative AI and Copilot Studio. I'm going to talk about more of AI Studio, how the generative AI will be useful in Copilot Studio, right? So there are a couple of things I would like to talk about. We talked about build and extend. Now talk about connect and extend. So on the top, actually, we have different business application like M365 Copilot. We have Studio, we have Power Platform, Dynamic 365, etc. Right? Then we have these two information: generative conversation or generate assistant. Right? First is focusing on the creating a conversation where customer we are interacting with the customer, right? Customer or visitor to our website, or let's say somebody who's reaching out to us. On the second side, we have using as an assistant to build it. So it's called generative answer. It will generate an answer for you from the third party sources, from internal sources. Again, we have the list of down information here. It generate an action. It will generate an action based on Power Platform connectors, Copilot topics, skills, and Power Automate flow. And at the same time, it will help you to generate builder. So generative builder, which means it will help you to refine topic triggers, entities, variables, branching, etc. So again, it will not help you to customers to consume the data, but at the same time, work as assistant to make sure that when you find a loophole in the KPIs, you can use generative assistant and power your builder capability and make sure you fulfill those gaps, right? So again, working as assistant as well. So we are now responding as generative answer, generative action, and generative builder. So these are the three topics which covered in the generative and artificial intelligence scenarios, which is completed by the Copilot with the power of AI Studio, OpenAI services, right? I'm sure many of you got a lot of questions, but I'm going to just deep dive into a demo. Quickly, I would like to show you in next 5 to 6 minutes, and then we'll cover some of the learning capability today, and then we'll open the floor for Q&A. Perfect. So we have this list of Copilots. As you see, different customers, different scenarios. I build a different Copilots. We have this paid Copilot like M365 Copilot for extension. We have a Copilot for sales and customer service Copilot. Right. So again, these are Microsoft provided Copilots. And again, we have the chatbot, which is also focused on the IVR, conversational IVR, and then we have the agents. These agents also called as agents called as the bot, right? Which we can say. I'm going to click on this AGS Copilot right now. So when I click on this AGS Copilot or agent, I can see this Copilot which is connected to knowledge. So if I go to Copilot knowledge, I can see different knowledge sources is connected to. So you can actually view suggestion. I can see list of suggested knowledge sources we have. So again, we can actually work order source. We can actually create it for sales, different other websites we can connect to, Microsoft, etc. And at the same time, we can actually improve our rate answers. Sorry about that. Improve rate answers, and at the same time we can actually track our knowledge use, so which basically based on analytics which topic is creating a more information for us. And at the same time I just use I have not used this as a topic, but it gives you unengaged, abandoned, escalated, resolved topics, right? Right now I just did some dummy data, so that's why it's not creating us real information. But how this, you see, I'm creating, connecting this to a knowledge articles to generate some action in the topic. So let's say I have a topic which I can say, let's say main menu. So what is this? Is a IVR. This is not just a chatbot. So I say hello and thank you for calling AGS. We are calling AGS, right? Please note that some of the answers are generated by AI. So again, this is standard information we are saying. For new case, say new case. For existing case, say existing case. For others, say others. Press the pound key for to listen to the main menu, right? So again, this is exactly the standard function of how we'll do in a Copilot. If we call any company right now with the conversational IVR, this is how they function. So we are creating this whole scenario of all this IVR in the Copilot. We also know that system is basically support text and speech both. So again, you can convert this message to text or a speech. So the same Copilot can be function as a, if you just copy and create a version of it, you can create as for the chatbot and one for creating for the IVR point of view. Again, there are some actions we can generate. I don't have any at the moment. Again, we can see list of all the activities system perform. We can see list of all the analytics, how the system is performing based on the KPI side of thing, all the engagements and other thing, focusing on this topic, right? We have other analytics as well, which is again a deep dive into the system, but we have this Copilot related analytics. And the last, we have the channels actually where we are consuming it. Once the system is ready, it will show a list of all the risk actually here because I'm using disconnected this to a customer service, but I don't have authentication done, right? So I have to go to the authentication setting, and again, it provides more natural language error functioning and resolving of those issues, right? We can connect this to telephony, Microsoft Teams, demo websites, and all different channels we have. And at the bottom, we have the engagement hub, where we can actually use this to engagement hub and connect my Copilot into an Omni channel. So right now you see it's already connected. That's why we are getting this error, because I connected this to my customer service environment for the escalation, but I have not done the authentication is completed, right? So again, this will give you understanding of how this Copilot in a nutshell looks like from the IVR and from the chatbot point of view. So if I go to, let's say, any other topic, let me pick a topic. That's a simple topic, right? I would like to make it simple. So when as a store, you are going to open and close, let's say AGS, right? I'm happy to help with the store hours, which store you're looking for. I would say Redmond. And then based on that, system will create this information, right? I can click on it here. I can send a message, just a message, no asking any question, just a message. We can ask a question where we can actually show multiple options. Let's say select option number 1, 2, 3, 4. Based on selection, it will go into the specific branching rule. We can put a condition, check condition, if else, right? We can put the variable management where we can actually consume the data which is used, stored in above and use it later. So let's say when we are creating a copilot for the pizza ordering, we can say how many pizza you want and what type of pizza. So how many, the number and type, we are storing in a variable. So when we are responding back in the later part of the copilot, we can use variable to responding back to the customer using those as a syntax, right? Topic management is it transferring this to another topic, or it's an end of the current topic, end of all the topic, transferring a conversation to live agent, go to a step, any step need to be jumped, or ending a conversation, right? 100%, like ending the everything. So and then we have the call and action. This talks about some of the function like create a flow, create a prompt, a skill action, or knowledge article search. Again, we can go to connectors. We have a list of all the connectors, Power Platform connectors provide, or you can actually create a plugin. You can create a plugin and start using those plugins. I don't have any at the moment. And the last is advanced. So again, we can generate an answer. We can actually generate an event, send an event query, and send an activity, those kind of things. So again, this will give you understanding of generate an answer because the system is not able to understand the customer context and the intent. So it will go to the data source, pull the data, and generate a natural language answer for you, right? That's called generative answers. We can use when we're creating when we're using and creating an agent bot, we can use provided knowledge sources. Okay, if we are not able to find an answer, go to this website, pull the data, generate it in a natural language way, and respond it back. This is something I explained to you in a few slides, right? So there are multiple functions, multiple ways a copilot can be designed and consume those data for you, right? I'm sorry it's rushing because the amount of time is very limited for me and the amount of information to be provided is so much, right? Before we go ahead, and I'm going to open a floor in a few minutes for Q&A, you can go to ak.ms/try Copilot Studio. That's very important to understand. You can go to ak.ms, ak.microsoft, and /Copilot Studio, Copilot Studio blog, demo, or let's say sizzle videos, product presentation, documentation, community pages, and implementation guide. If you have more queries, you can reach out to us. You can reach out to us from different ways. I'm sure you've got different mediums of communication for us. So as a company, if you have any question, you can reach out to us and one of our team member or I can help you to define a copilot for you, a strategy for you. If any are facing any challenges and queries, so we are happy to answer those questions. I see we have less than 10 minutes left, so I would like to open a floor for Q&A. If you have any question, just put the query on the chat and we'll put those answer very quickly. Right, so I would like to give a few moments to everybody. I know it's so much of information we talked about in the last 1 hour, close to 1 hour. So I would like to give an opportunity to everybody. If you have any question, you can reach out to us and we can answer some of the query. Okay. Okay, I see one query coming up. It talks about what's the difference between PVA and Copilot, the latest version. As we talked about, PVA was used for, it was there from last many years when the Microsoft launched Power Platform, the PVA Power Virtual Agent part of it. Copilot Studio is a powerful version of PVA. Copilot Studio again redesigned the whole PVA function and they designed Copilot Studio, but now they added a component as generative AI after the launch of Gen AI, and also provide a capability of Microsoft AI Studio, so you can actually use just a function or create any scenarios in the Copilot Studio. Plus, if you like to extend, you can use AI Studio and create custom LLM or create any AI function or prompts, any kind of things you would like to create. You can use Copilot Studio to extend using those AI Studio functions, right? So that's again a key difference between these two. Um, any other questions before we close the session? We have a few more minutes, so I would like to be here and see if you have any questions for us. Okay. Okay. Sounds pretty good. I think I don't see many questions coming up, so we can actually. What do you think, Lily? We should wrap up the session, or we should uh, coming up anything like this?
Yeah, absolutely. If anyone has any questions, they can reach out to their Velosio account manager or reply to our follow-up email. But before we head out, thank you so much, Ashish. That was great. And thank you to everyone who joined us. We appreciate your time. Before we do head out, I want to remind you to keep an eye on your inbox for the follow-up email, which will include a link to the webinar recording, as well as a link to the slides with all of these links that you see on there that you'll be able to click on. And with that, we will sign off. Have a great day, everyone.
Sounds pretty good. Thanks, Lily. Have a good day, everybody.
Bye.